On January 26, 2026, a passenger vessel rolled onto its side in rough seas near Basilan province in the southern Philippines. Hundreds of people were suddenly in the water. Some were trapped inside the hull. Some clung to floating debris. Others simply disappeared beneath the surface. By the time rescue teams arrived, 64 people were dead. 15 were still missing. And in the water around the wreck, rescuers reported sharks. But here is what most headlines will never explain. Right-finger sharks are rarely the primary killer in shipwrecks. What actually unfolds in the water is far more predictable, and far more terrifying. Tonight, we are going to break down exactly what happened aboard the MV Trisha Kerstin 3, and what the ocean does to human beings when time runs out. The moment everything changed, the MV Trisha Kerstin 3 was not supposed to become a disaster headline. It was a routine regional passenger vessel, one of thousands that move quietly between islands every day across the Philippines. For the passengers on board, this was transportation. Not a risk calculation. But the ocean does not care about routine. On January 26, rough sea conditions began building across the region. Wind speeds increased. Wave height climbed. Then something critical happened. The vessel lost stability. When ships capsize, it often happens faster than the human brain can process. There is no cinematic countdown. No dramatic warning. Just a sudden tilt, objects sliding, people screaming, and gravity rewriting the rules. Within minutes, the vessel rolled. Hundreds were thrown into open water. What kills most shipwreck victims? Let's address the fear everyone jumps to first: sharks. They dominate the imagination. But maritime fatality data shows something very different. Most shipwreck victims die from panic, exhaustion, drowning, trauma during the capsize, hypothermia, dehydration, shock, not predators. The real killer is physiological overload. When a human is suddenly dropped into open water, the body enters an immediate stress cascade, heart rate spikes. Breathing becomes chaotic. Muscle coordination collapses. People inhale water before they even realize it. And panic spreads faster than oil across the surface. Survival in the ocean is rarely about strength. It is about calm, under conditions specifically designed to destroy it. The survivor window. There is the concept maritime psychologists often discuss called the golden survival window. It is the first 10 to 20 minutes after a disaster. What you do here often determines whether you live or vanish. Survivors who checkmark grab flotation checkmark stay with debris checkmark avoid frantic swimming checkmark conserve energy have dramatically higher survival odds. Those who fight the water usually lose. Of the over 350 people aboard, 293 survived. That number tells us something important. Many people did something right. They stayed afloat long enough to be found. But others never got that chance. Some were likely trapped inside the vessel as it rolled. Others may have been pulled under during the chaos. And some simply disappeared into open sea. The shark factor, without the myth. Now we need to talk about the detail that complicated rescue operations. Sharks were reported in the area. This is not unusual. Marine predators are highly sensitive to disturbance signals. Low-frequency vibration, erratic movement, sound bursts, possible fuel leakage, biological traces in water. To a shark, a shipwreck is not a feeding frenzy. It is an anomaly worth investigating. Most sharks approach cautiously. They circle. They observe. Very often, they leave. But for rescuers in the water, even the possibility of sharks changes everything. Recovery divers must operate differently. Extraction slows. Search patterns tighten. Risk tolerance drops. Time stretches. And in maritime disasters, time is survival. Why capsizes are so deadly. Capsizing is one of the most lethal maritime events because it destroys orientation instantly. Imagine this. 1 second the floor is beneath you. The next, it is a wall. Cabins flood. Hallways invert. Visibility drops to zero. People swim the wrong direction, straight into the ship instead of out. Even strong swimmers become disoriented inside submerged structures. This is why many maritime victims are later found within the vessel itself. Not because they couldn't swim, but because they couldn't navigate chaos. The psychology of open water. There is a moment survivors often describe. It is not when the ship goes down. It is later. When the screaming stops. When the waves stretch endlessly to the horizon. When rescue is nowhere in sight. And the brain asks a single question. Am I going to die out here? This is where mental survival becomes physical survival. The people who make it are rarely the strongest. They are the ones who slow their breathing, control their thoughts, and resist the urge to thrash. Because the ocean punishes urgency. Sometimes, even perfect decisions aren't enough. What this disaster reminds us as of February 18, 64 confirmed dead. 15 still missing. Families waiting. Search teams scanning water that gives nothing back easily. Every maritime disaster carries the same quiet lesson. We are extraordinarily advanced on land, and shockingly fragile at sea. Ships feel permanent. Until they aren't. Routes feel safe. Until conditions shift. And survival often comes down to minutes, not hours. The truth: the ocean repeats. The presence of sharks will dominate many conversations about this tragedy. But the deeper truth is harder to sensationalize. The ocean does not need predators to be lethal. Water alone is enough. Cold is enough. Fatigue is enough. Disorientation is enough. The sea doesn't rush. It doesn't need to. It simply waits for human limits to appear. And eventually, they always do. If you study maritime history, one pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Most people fear the wrong thing. It isn't always the storm. It isn't always the shark. It is the moment control disappears. Subscribe to Commander Puzzles if you want the real survival psychology behind disasters at sea, not the movie version. Because the ocean is still writing stories like this, every year. And understanding them might be the difference between panic and survival. The aftermath of the MV Trisha Kerstin 3's capsize remains a haunting reminder that nature, while beautiful, can be devastatingly cruel. Families are left grappling with the loss of loved ones, each set of eyes scanning the horizon, searching for hope or closure amidst the endless blue. The maritime experts emphasize that this incident is a case study in understanding our relationship with the ocean. It is not just a body of water but a formidable force that demands respect and caution. What's essential now is a collective reflection on safety, technology, and preparedness, ensuring that lessons learned are not soon forgotten. With every passing day, as the search operations continue, the urgency to protect future travelers grows. The ocean is merciless, and its secrets often lie buried beneath the waves. As society seeks to improve maritime safety, it's crucial to look beyond sensational tales of panic and fear and recognize the scientific facts that underline these tragedies. Knowledge and awareness can be our best allies against the unpredictable nature of the sea. The ocean's temperament can shift without warning, and this brutal reality became painfully clear on that fateful day. Beyond the thrill of adventure lies the risk of the unknown, a truth every sailor should heed. Safety measures, especially on passenger vessels, must evolve in response to unpredictable conditions, ensuring that those entrusted to the sea are not merely statistics in a tragic narrative. Every witness, every survivor holds a fragment of the truth, and it is our duty to listen to their stories, capturing the essence of their experiences to forge a safer maritime future. As investigations continue, there is hope that through action and awareness, such tragedies can become sparse, ensuring that the waves tell tales of resilience, not loss. The maritime community remains vigilant, acutely aware that every event at sea contributes to an evolving narrative of safety. Insights gained from the MV Trisha Kerstin 3 disaster shed light on critical aspects like vessel integrity, emergency protocols, and crew training. Families of the deceased and missing continue to advocate for transparency, demanding thorough investigations that yield actionable safety recommendations. They remind us that behind each statistic is a face, a life, often filled with dreams abruptly interrupted by tragedy. As search efforts persist, so do the unanswered questions about what can be done to prevent future tragedies, challenging authorities to act decisively in implementing changes. The ocean's challenge persists, a call for preparedness, respect for nature, and a commitment to protecting those who venture into its depths. The MV Trisha Kerstin 3 tragedy rippled through the maritime community, invoking a profound sense of urgency that echoed far beyond the shores of the Philippines. As investigations unfold, experts are examining previous incidents and scrutinizing safety measures that govern such vessels. Those responsible for maritime safety are now under pressure to reassess and redesign protocols, incorporating lessons learned from this devastating event. Survivors and families of the victims are working tirelessly to ensure their voices are heard, advocating for change while grappling with unimaginable grief. Conversations about technology enhancements are starting, emphasizing the need for improved weather monitoring systems and better communication tools. While the search for the missing continues, each day serves as a critical reminder of the human cost of maritime negligence, a reminder that can no longer be ignored. The ocean's unpredictable nature challenges us to adapt, innovate, and anticipate rather than react, making every effort essential to safeguarding lives in the future. As water swirled around them, disoriented survivors watched helplessly as dawn broke over the vast ocean, each passing moment deepening their despair. They drifted in a sea of uncertainty, hearts pounding, hope dwindling, all while distant cries for help melded into the roar of waves crashing against the hull of what once was home. Rescuers worked fervently, but with the hours stretching into days, the fragile thread connecting each survivor to their loved ones frayed further. Understanding what they faced, many clung to floating debris, memories of life before the storm igniting a flicker of survival instinct amidst the chaos. As the hours turned into an agonizing blur, some survivors began to share their stories, recounting the chaos that engulfed them in those terrifying moments. Their voices trembled as they described the sudden change from comfort to despair, the stark transition from passengers to desperate souls fighting for survival. They spoke of fellow travelers, strangers turned companions in that dark time, shouting to one another, urging the frightened to remain calm, to stay afloat. While the ocean roared around them, unity became their silent savior, a desperate bond forged in the face of an unforgiving sea. With each wave that crashed over them, they clung tighter to that hope, knowing that safety was out there somewhere, if only they could endure just a little longer. As conversations continued to unfold among survivors, they reflected on the instinctual need for camaraderie amid chaos, an unspoken agreement to fight together against despair. Many found themselves sharing the small belongings they had salvaged, passing items from one person to another, water bottles, makeshift flotation devices, and scraps of food. Each gesture served as a reminder of their shared humanity, a lifeline in an ocean that threatened to sever all ties to the world they once knew. They clung to hope, words of encouragement echoing through the waves as they fought against every instinct that urged them to panic. With each passing hour, the weight of uncertainty hung heavier, transforming the once lively conversation into hushed whispers of exhaustion. Survivors began to realize that their numbers were dwindling. Some had succumbed to the overwhelming forces of the ocean, leaving an eerie silence where laughter once echoed. The relentless sun bore down on them, amplifying their thirst, as the salty embrace of the sea stung their cracked lips. Hope flickered, threatened by the encroaching fatigue gripping their bodies, yet the indomitable human spirit surged within. They shifted their focus to the horizon, eyes scanning for the faintest hint of rescue, an approaching vessel to shatter the oppressive stillness. In that shared vigil, bonds of silent solidarity grew stronger, as each soul became a flicker of light, illuminating the darkness that lurked beneath the waves. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting an orange hue across the restless waters, the survivors found themselves grappling with an unsettling reality. The sounds of distant engines and shouts from rescuers echoed intermittently, but each fleeting moment amplified their loneliness. With every rising wave, they recalled fragmented memories of loved ones waiting ashore, their hearts aching with the thought of what might be lost forever. In those agonizing hours, survival became not just a fight against the ocean, but a testament to the strength of their will and the power of hope, urging them to endure until rescue arrived. The ocean, vast and indifferent, continued to churn around them as dusk approached, chilling the air and their spirits alike. Time felt distorted, seconds stretched into eternity, each moment laden with unfulfilled promises and silent prayers. As they drifted, the connection to the world above felt tenuous, their senses sharpened by fear yet dulled by exhaustion. Hearts raced as flashes of light danced in the distance, fueling fleeting hopes before darkness fell, reminding them that survival was a battle not just against nature but against the shadows looming both above and below. The tragedy of the MV Trisha Kerstin 3 serves as a stark reminder of our vulnerability against the sea's unpredictability. Each story shared by survivors reflects a universal truth. Even amidst chaos, the human spirit has the power to unify, to endure, and to hope. In remembering those lost, we pledge to foster a future where such events are met with preparedness and resilience.